Morning. Andy asked me to speak to you this morning, and this falls into the category of things that I prefer not to do, but I'm going to go ahead and do anyway. I'm a mom of 3 little kids, and so I'm familiar with doing things that I would not choose to do on my own. Sometimes that's awful, sometimes it's bearable, and sometimes it's quite fun. I'm not sure this is going to be the fun category. I do these things because I love my family, and I'm standing here against my instinct because I love each of you and because I love what we all do together. Andy did not give me a lot of direction for what to say, so I've thought of 3 things. Number 1, this church has been through a lot. We've all felt that. One thing I've noticed this year is that we are an engaged, caring, and well-intentioned group. Our Christianity unifies us. Our yearning to support God's work unifies us. Our love of worship and fellowship in this church unifies us. That brings me to number 2. We are unified, but we are not a monolith. We don't have the same amount of money. We don't have the same workplace flexibilities. We don't have the same gifts and talents. We don't have the same amount of time. To my mind, that's a good thing. No matter our circumstances, we all have some ways that we can contribute. And that's plural, some ways. Your very presence here this morning is a contribution. Your welcoming smile, your singing, your prayers, your offerings, those are all contributions that you make routinely. Now comes number 3. We are all called to do more. In any stewardship season, we are called to do more. And because our church has been through a lot this year, recall number 1 from just a few moments ago, this season presents a particularly good opportunity for each of us to do more. Thankfully, we all have some things to contribute, and because we are not a monolith, recall number 2, we can all find ways to contribute that will not overlap, but that will add to the great work of this Christian body. Some of us are great at making people feel welcome. Some of us can carry a tune, not Andy. Some of us can cook. Some of us can corral energetic children and teach them about God's love. Some of us can visit people in their homes. Some of us can balance a budget, and some of us can organize missions. Maybe one of us can lead intersection. There is so much to do, and our collective talents will allow us to do it. We just have to commit or to recommit ourselves to this church and to doing God's work in all the ways that we can. To my optimistic mind, this stewardship season requires self-reflection and a thoughtful assessment of 1, what we have been doing with our money, time, and talents, of 2, what we believe we can comfortably manage in those areas now, and 3, how much more we can stretch from that comfort zone. And I call it a stretch because Scripture doesn't really support only doing what is comfortable. Instead, we are supposed to push farther, trusting that God has us. Stretching farther, doing more, isn't necessarily easy, but it's often more doable than we think. If I were your personal trainer, I would add 2.5 pounds to each end of your barbell, and I would have you do a few more reps. If I were your walking buddy, I would say, let's walk an extra half mile in the morning. If I were your teacher, I'd find a book that you like and hand you something new that might tempt you to read more. We often can do more than we think we can, and our church needs us to do more. But I'm not your personal trainer or your walking buddy or your teacher, unless you're in 2nd grade Sunday school, and occasionally I am your teacher. But I am your fellow church member, and I will say that we each have some ratio of money, time, and talent to give. My family is committed to looking at our financial giving, to looking at how our talents might be useful, and to sharing more of our time. If we each stretch a little, we'll be awed at what this church family can do together. Doing more, finding new ways to contribute, will be hard in many ways, I'm sure. but I'm also sure that there is no better way for Christians to struggle than by giving more to God's church and God's world. Please join us.
Good morning, everybody. Like Andy said, my name is Shelby Trusty. My husband Matt and I have been members here, I think, since like 2005-ish. We landed here after moving to Madison and visiting several churches, and we knew this was our home pretty quickly because we were just very warmly welcomed by everybody in the pews around us, and sadly we didn't really experience that at other churches. But the welcomes by everyone didn't feel polite, they felt genuine. You know, we felt like we belonged here, and it just felt home. So we've had both of our children while we've been here. Both girls have been baptized here. They grew up doing children's ministry, and they were part of our weekday ministry. And, you know, other than our house and school, this is where they've spent most of their time. And sometimes they may have felt a little too at home here. You know, Andy's sermon, they've had to be reminded, is not the time to get in a fight with their sister. Don't put your shoes on the pew. I'm sure some of you parents can relate to stuff like that. But being a part of this church has given us all so much. We've developed deeper relationships with the Lord through our Sunday school classes, Bible studies, small groups, service opportunities. We've made lifelong friendships here. We've all been pushed out of our comfort zones, and we've grown personally, we've grown spiritually. And the more involved we became, the more we got back. And that's where I really wanted to focus on this morning. Like Andy said, we all got to plug in. And because being a part of a church family is more than just Sunday worship. We need to plug into a Sunday school class, a Wednesday night small group, a mission trip, dare I even say a church committee. You know, it's nomination season, y'all. There's a lot of ways to be a part of this family, and St. Matthew's needs us right now. They need all of us. And so I want to be honest with y'all about something. I have kind of always been terrified to step in. And when Matt and I first joined, like, I was scared to even go to a Sunday school class. Like, I had it built up in my mind everybody in there was going to be like a biblical scholar, and I was going to like feel stupid or say something stupid. But thankfully we got over that and realized that there is nothing to be afraid of, especially in the Cornerstone class. So anybody who might worry about feeling stupid, just come join Cornerstone. Mimi and I will welcome y'all. But then I got asked to teach a children's Sunday school class, and again, I was scared. I was like, I'm not qualified for this. I don't know enough the Bible to teach it, let alone to 4-year-olds. But I got over that too and realized 4-year-olds are not that scary. And then I was asked to lead a small group. And again, I was scared. I thought everybody was going to see straight through me and see, like, who does she think she is, trying to tell us about Jesus when we all know for a fact she ain't nothing but a big old sinner, you know? So I guess I'm making a bet here that there's some people in this room who have maybe had these similar thoughts or similar fears that we're not good enough or smart enough. But here's the thing is that we don't have to feel that way, especially here at St. Matthew's. Because Courtney Davis said it well a couple weeks ago, given her stewardship moment, is like, this is a judgment-free zone, y'all, you know. We don't have to worry about feeling inadequate. And looking back on all of that now, I see the pattern that Jesus was pushing me and that Jesus was calling me. And I was nothing but full of excuses. And so thankfully, I was able to see that Jesus was providing everything I needed, and that more than that, my St. Matthew's family was here for me, encouraging me and supporting me. And so guess what? Jesus is here for you too. St. Matthew's is here for you too. And if we all just step out on faith and follow his will, then we can't fail, you know, because he's got this and he's got you. So thank you all for your time this morning, and just know that I love our family here, and I thank y'all for letting us be a part of it.
So Brian actually texted me at about 8:30 last night asking if I could do this stewardship moment. So I'm going to try to put some of my thoughts into words for you today about how I serve at St. Matthew's and why I serve. We've been at St. Matthew's for about 6 years now. And it's felt like family really since the first day we ever walked in. We were greeted like family. We were welcomed into a Sunday school class like we were family. And those same people are still our family today. So as we got more involved with the church and we really got to know people, we started serving in different ways. And then several years ago, I was asked, I think I was sitting in one of these rooms during a Wednesday night, like doing a Bible study kind of by myself, just in quiet time. And I forget who it was, but they stuck their head in. They were like, hey, would you be interested in leading our children on Wednesday nights? And it wasn't something that had ever really crossed my mind to take on what felt like a really big commitment and something that honestly, I felt really unqualified to do. Now, if you want me to teach some elementary math, I can do that all day, every day. But for some reason, leading a children's Bible study on Wednesday nights just felt really daunting. But we were close to the end of school year, so I was like, yes, I can do that. We can get to summer, and then come the next school year, maybe the real person who's supposed to do this job can come take over. And then I got asked again the next school year if I would continue leading our children on Wednesday night. And I said yes again, and I continue saying yes every year I get asked. And if you come to Wednesday nights, Wednesday's a really long night between a long day at work and getting kids fed or up to church, getting them to their classes here. So there are a lot of days I walk into that Wednesday night class we start with 3rd through 5th graders, and then we swap to our kindergarten and second graders. And I'm tired, and there are some days that I don't feel at my best when I walk in. But what happens is that while I'm there with our children and we're doing our Bible study and we're sharing our prayer requests and just getting to know each other and each other's lives, is that as I'm trying to fill their cup, they actually are filling my cup. So that by the time I walk out of those classes on Wednesday nights, I feel refreshed and rejuvenated. So there's something about serving and giving to others that also, I think, feeds our souls and our spirits. So that's one of the reasons that I keep doing it. I love the children that I get to work with. I've watched them grow up because I've been doing this for several years, so it's really fun to see that happen. But what's really amazing to me about St. Matthew's is there are so many different ways that you can plug in. Like if working with children isn't for you, there is something else that you can do. And I don't even know, there's like a whole list of ministries. I don't think I even know half of them. But there's a way for each and every person to find what their gift is and one way that they can kind of give back and serve their church. And I think we make it pretty easy too. My kids even help serve. We mentioned Rise Against Hunger earlier. They love helping at that. And so there are ways that even our children can serve. So as we're kind of in the stewardship month, I'd encourage you to think about how you can serve our church family. Thank you.